Getting ready to install this modular bed liner in my Maverick. We're going to go ahead and open up the box. So this is the floor, obviously, but it does need to flatten out a little bit. It'll flatten out in the sun. Once it starts warming up, should be fine. In all honesty, I should have removed all this stuff from the box a few days ago when I dropped it off here, but you can see what we were given. This is the piece that goes on the tailgate. This is the front part, which goes right there. This strip goes on top for this to adhere to, and then we have both the side panels. So other than that, we have a bag of hardware, and I believe that there's a code somewhere in here to pull up the actual instructions on Ford's website. But here's some of the hardware laid out. These hat washers are used for the install of this. So what I'm actually going to do is put this on first onto the tailgate. But you can see here's the QR code I was talking about. That'll pull up the instructions on how to install this. So this part of the video, it looks like it's going to be pretty easy. But all we have to do here, according to the instructions, is remove these 8 screws that are in here. Up. So with all those bolts out, just take your tailgate piece, throw her on down. You'll see with these hat washers, they can only go on one way, but they're going to go on just like that. Now for this part, all we have left is to grab all of these screws with the pink Loctite on them. These are what we're going to be using to install. And what I like to do with stuff like this is I'm not going to use a drill to start them. I like doing everything by hand just so I mitigate any risk of cross-threading any of this stuff. But you can see everything is most likely going to go on pretty easily. Put your tool on the screw and then kind of pierce it through, and then just thread her on in just like that. Pretty simple. Now that that part's done, all of those are started. There's a certain sequence that you have to install these on. So here's a screenshot of that. So take that what you will, take with that what you will. But according to that, they want you to start here and then go out and just like that. So it should go without saying. I know this impact. I know how much of a trigger pull I'm supposed to give it. You might not want to use something like this, but if you do, just be careful. But you can see I'm doing it nice and slow. Just a couple hammers of it. So hope you guys enjoyed this part of the video. If that's all you're here for, there you go. But I'm going to get on with the rest of the install of this. That's flattened out a little bit. Still needs to flatten out a little bit more. So I'm probably going to stick it over there in the sun for a little while. And that's it. Tailgate's done. The rest of this is done too, but you guys will see that at the other end of this video. If you guys enjoyed this video, stay tuned for more. So the next step, we're going to remove all the tie-down points. They should all be T30s. If you have the bed rail, you'll have to remove that too. This vehicle does not have it, so we don't have to worry about it. But I'm going to start with the bottom ones first, then we'll move up to the top ones, and then at that point, we can install these side brackets too. So the 2 bottom ones are T40s. I was correct about that earlier. Sides. Now I just have to do the rest of them. We'll get on to the next. So now we have to prep these, and all we have to do for these is you're just going to slide this nut plate on the back, because remember it goes on like this against the inside of the vehicle. So we're just going to throw that on just like that. An easy way to do this, according to the diagram, is you want the elbow of the nut plate facing inwards, and you're just going to stick it on just like this. But how they want you to adhere this is to use these black vinyl squares. And all you're gonna do is just stick them on, just like that. And I'm looking at the bottom here just to make sure I get everything on properly. But you're just gonna be sticking them in place, just like that. And now we just have to do the other side. So I've got some rags and a little bit of rubbing alcohol. What I'm gonna do is clean this entire piece right here, because that's where that strip's gonna adhere to. And that'll be easy enough. I don't need to get that on camera. Meet you guys at the next step. So all I did was just set this in here. I did not peel the adhesive off the back, but now I'm going to grab the floor. We're going to stick that in. It has straightened out quite a bit. It's still not perfect, but it should be good enough for us to get it in there, get the tie downs through the holes, and then start on with the sides. So you'll notice with the bracket, it kind of just sits on top of this, just like that. So we'll just set it on down. So here's the fun part. Now, if you have any of this stuff installed, you're gonna have to adjust your deal here to be able to accept your tie down hooks, as well as the flex bed little cabinet here. So I'm gonna have to basically drill a couple pilot holes here, and I'm gonna use some aviation snips. I'll try that first and just cut out this box, try and go over it with a file and smooth it out a bit, but I'm also gonna have to drill a couple holes in here. So I cut the hole in the box here. Now I'm working on the one for the tie downs, and as you guys can see, so these are the washers they give you. The idea is you want it put in place, and then when you put your tie down stuff on, the washer goes in between the tie down and the side of the bed frame, and that gets you the standoff, so you don't need to cut out this center part of it. So what'll end up happening is you'll get your tie down bracket on just like that, and it'll hold the top part of this thing in place. So that's what you want. This side's done. I just have to do the back part for that piece back there. It's pretty simple with this. So as I mentioned a minute ago, you have these two washers. They go on top of on the underside of the bracket, just like that. No washers on the other side. Get them in place and install them. Pretty simple. So all of the tie downs are back on in place. So all we have left to do now is put the 7mm bolt through the bottom here. Might have to take this back off to make that happen, but shouldn't be too bad. Yeah, that was pretty easy. I have this flexible extension here. Just stuck it on through. Didn't even need to pull that bracket off. So now I'm just going to do that side. I've got to pull that back off. It's not on, obviously, but I've got to put the holes through it so it can accept my tie downs, and then we'll be pretty much done. Just have to remove the adhesive off the back of that thing, and that's it. So now we just got to put the front tie down thing in, and this bracket goes on first, and this piece, just like that. That's it. Just got to do the other side. I just had them in place just to hold the thing down while I was working. So here it is, all put back together. No leftover parts. I did end up printing this out just so I could have a better visual representation of what they wanted. but everything's back in place. I do not have these frame rails that go along here, so I didn't bother in drilling those out. I don't plan on buying a set of those either, so not worried about it. But this part's already been done, and that's it. So I just got to pull off the adhesive backing and then press that thing up against the back. So I'm just going to pull this off just like that. There we have it, all installed. Happy with that. Hope you guys enjoyed this video. Stay tuned for more. Now, I know that this is a little bowed out here, but probably in 2 or 3 days, that'll flatten out some more. I'm not really all that worried about it, but everything's where it needs to be. Definitely happy with that outcome.